Nate Dogg at Briarwood Wine and Spirits has a Wilderness Trail barrel pick, and Jamie Ferris at Lincoln Road in Hattiesburg has a Wilderness Trail weeded barrel pick, which is actually, I don't know if you noticed, Jackson, but yeah, we've got some of that, so that's a good thing. Good morning, welcome in. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. I've got Jackson Meadows with me. The agup.com text line is 601-885-3776. Twitter handle at Bo Bounds, brought to you by Superior Foundation. If you need French drains or foundation work, Superior. They'll get you an estimate in 48 hours or less. They also come with a warranty, and it's family owned. Superior.ms. And then the Michelob Ultra caller line is 601-707-3750. Recapping the weekend, Mississippi State, that's a tough loss. You know, just a couple of pieces here and there, and you can win that ball game. I did not agree with the fake punt on their 30, 4th and 8. If you're going to do that, just roll out the offense and run a play. And I know there's a learning curve for Levy, just like anybody, any of us, but you're still in the game at that point, and A&M has decided to try to turn the ball over all day. So, and Connor Wigman had already proven to you that he couldn't really throw the ball. I mean, he did to wide open wide receivers at times, but he wanted to throw 5 picks on Saturday. And so not a coach, but I would have punted and made him drive 70 yards because he was spraying the ball all over the field. And now look, he had a couple of guys run across the middle that were wide open, and he hit them. But he threw 2 picks, had 3 dropped right in the hands of Mississippi State defenders. And he was begging you to beat them. And Elko, which was weird. Elko's a good coach. I don't really know what their game plan was. I mean, I thought they were going to win 42-17. I just thought 45-17. I thought it was a terrible matchup. Kudos to Levy and many on the staff for making that a hell of a ball game. But I just, 4th and 8 on your 30, let's not go for it. Let's. I mean, when Connor Wigman is at times missing wide open wide receivers, I mean, just sailing it, let him maybe try to sail it again and hit your safety or linebacker. I mean, my theory is allow these guys that are proving they want to do it to make mistakes. Make them go 70 yards. Don't make him go 28 or whatever it was once the 20. I mean, the fake punt was blown up right from the jump on the snap. And then they just, you took the pressure off of them by giving them the ball on that side of the field. Van Buren looked good. Coleman looked good. I was surprised that Booth and Daniels had 2 big runs. Surprised the offensive line's playing as well as it is the last few weeks. That's a credit to Kennedy and Levy. Because I thought they were lost early. And that's with Pounders not doing what you thought he would do. You have no pass rush. If you had a pass rush, you'd already have a couple more wins. You have no pass rush, none. Which you can't say that really. Since Jackie Sherrill got there from 91 till maybe year before last, when Leach won 9, you had a pass rush even under Kroom to a certain extent, 90% of the time. And, of course, you've had some great players on that side of the ball. Yep, that's my recap. I don't know if I rambled too much on that game, but we had a great time. I got to watch a quarter of the game with Dan Mullen. Let me tell you all this. Jackson lived this way. Look, man, when coaches are in the, when they are leading their team, they don't necessarily want to G-haul with a media guy, which is fine. And I ran into Dan at the beach, and he would be a little more chill. But I mean, I get it. I mean, he was very successful. He was pretty wired up all the time. And over time, we eventually talked about our kids and things when I'd see them at off-season events. Megan did some big charity stuff that we went to as far as the 36 Foundation and so on. But Jackson knows, when you call him during the season, I mean, he's wound up. I mean, he's been in the office since 4:30. He's on his 27th cup of coffee. He's trying to figure out a way to beat Auburn or LSU, which he did multiple times. He owned Auburn, actually. But the star power there was Dak Prescott, Dan Mullen, Will Clark. It was insane. I mean, and it was cool. And the university did a great job.
Oh, yeah.
They did Zach Selman, Mark Keenum. It was very well done, tasteful. They celebrated these guys as they should. Really, really well done. Dan is close to a close friend of mine. And they came up and we spent an hour at least, maybe longer, watching the game. I have never visited with him like that because I'm the media guy. And he is in a totally different place and space in life.
Man, yeah.
And his daughter was there. Megan was there. You can tell what Mississippi State meant to him. He was rooting like crazy for Jeff Lebby. He talked about Van Buren when he was around. We're all just having a beverage, watching the game. He went, that kid is something. He was so excited to see so many of his former players. And you could tell how much he was having fun. He and Dak were really kind of dancing around and pushing each other down there. I mean, they were having a good time as they acknowledged him and so on. And he was feeling it. But he's doing TV and things are going well. I think he's going to coach again.
Oh, yeah.
I just do. For a while, I did not. And now it was funny. We had just interviewed him. So as we're talking, I'm like, hey, thanks for coming on the show. He said, I had a great time, blah, blah, blah. I said, I think you're coaching again. I said it again to him. Yeah. He started laughing. He said, maybe.
He is.
And we're going to see what opens up this year. Keep an eye on North Carolina. They'd be crazy not to hire him. The ship has sailed with Mac Brown about 20 years ago. And so, but he's made a lot of money. Give Mac credit. Made about $100 million the last 20 years at Texas and North Carolina, underachieving. But you put Dan at UNC Chapel Hill, it could get real. It could, because you give him a Van Buren type player, Garrett Schrader, it's on. Good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show. Your next toolbox for your truck is powered by RPT and Rick's Pro Truck. Tom Luganville at 8:30 on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. will join us at 8:30. Tom Luganbill will join us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone at 8:30. Good morning. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. That was a brutal lick on Brandon Ayuk. 49ers Chiefs. Goodness gracious. All right. So game balls to Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, Florida. Florida smoked Kentucky. My goodness.
Did he really save his job?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay, all right.
They've got another win on their schedule against Florida State. It is brutal. The Florida schedule is terrible.
It is.
They've got Georgia, then Texas. Mississippi State just did that. They did Texas and Georgia, and then A&M.
Okay, so he's not safe yet.
No, I think they should keep him, but they're not going to ask me.
Sure.
I mean, he's trending the right way.
Sure.
He had Tennessee beat. It just didn't happen. They lost Mertz in the game. If they beat Tennessee, it would be done. He would be saved.
Sure.
But he just beat Kentucky. I think he'll beat Florida State. That only leaves him at 5. But I would keep him. I'd keep Billy Napier.
Yeah, because where else are you going to go?
Well, who else are you going to get?
That's it. Cincinnati.
I mean, I don't know what Chadwell's going to do. Liberty's undefeated. By the way, just because you're there, he's a good coach, okay? Just because you're there and doing well doesn't mean that you're going to make a move, a jump, and be great. That's just not how it works.
Ooh.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does not. And if I'm Florida, I stay with Napier. But yeah, I mean, their numbers are going up, offensive and defensive scoring efficiency, way up. And Lagway can play. They're just going to have to play with a freshman the rest of the year because Mertz I don't know if Mertz is out for good. I can't remember. He may be. Probably is. But anyway, the point is Florida gets a game ball. Vanderbilt's ranked. It's a weird year. A&M and LSU are undefeated in conference. They play this weekend.
The leaders in conference.
And then Georgia just decided, well, we're ready to play.
We're here.
We are ready to play, and they embarrassed Texas. And I love what Kirby said. Can we bring that up again? Kirby post-game, I never thought Kirby would be this good with some of his sound bites. But again, he's not up there to be cute. He's not there to be cute. He's not even on social media. He's not there to be blah, blah, blah. But, man, you could tell he took a shot at Sark and Texas and all the celebrities and all the smoke and mirrors and all the bells and whistles. And Georgia just came to play ball and thought, all right, let's get in a fist fight.
Yep.
And let's throw down and let's see what's going to happen. And they dominated Texas. This is Kirby Smart after the big win.
Been in these battles. How do you know how to get the best out of your players when you need it most?
You know, these players get the best out of me. And I'm so proud of these guys because nobody believed. Nobody gave us a chance. Your whole network doubted us. Nobody believed us. And then they tried to rob us with calls in this place. And these guys are so resilient. You know what I mean? We talked about intent. What was our intent when we walked on the field? Our intent was not to take pictures, not to do all the superstar stuff. Our intent, our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry. I'm not interested in all the bells and whistles. What I want is a team that fights their ass off, and they did tonight.
Speaking of the call that was changed in the third quarter, what did you think of the composure you saw from Carson Beck in your offense?
I thought Carson had great composure all day. He had 4 drops to start the game. It didn't rattle the kid. He threw interceptions. It didn't rattle the kid. The guy's a great player. He takes undue criticism, and all he does is lead our team. This was a team victory, offense, defense, special teams, in a tough place to play.
So much was made about their explosive offense coming into the game. How much pride do you have in the way your defense performed tonight?
Our defense was embarrassed the week before, but we really played really well. So when you play really well and you still get embarrassed, we were able to get their attention, and I thought they woke up and played really hard today.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. Go.
How scary is this? They went to sleep for 6-7 weeks. They beat Clemson so bad, and then they went to sleep for 6 or 7 weeks, and then they wake back up and they go into Texas, a tough place to play, with all that hype and excitement, and dominate them. Dominated them.
Felt good. I don't even lie. I don't lie. I can't stand Georgia.
You can't what?
I can't stand him. I can't stand Kirby. He's supposed to be in jail for assault.
Should be in jail for assault on Michael Van Buren.
I mean,
right?
But it felt so good to see them just thump them.
You like that?
I can't stand Texas.
Why?
It's just that I didn't need. They can do it next year or the year after.
Oh, you didn't want them to do it in year one. Okay.
No, sir.
Okay.
Got to give them. They got to get welcomed.
Okay.
They need to get humbled, and I think that was rather humbling.
Be hot take.
They got
Be hot take.
All right. Well,
McConaughey can't save him from that one.
I'd kick his ass out.
McConaughey over there talking to the quarterback.
What's he doing?
I don't know. Like I said, when you're more concerned about the celebrities on the sideline, you get embarrassed.
What is he doing?
You get embarrassed.
Who's allowing that?
Sark.
Why?
Exactly.
What in the world can McConaughey?
Kirby Smart is a grown up.
Yes.
I thought Sark was. It's three guys that are very talented that keep doing things that are cutesy wootsy. That's not football.
No.
That's Sark,
No.
Lane Kiffin, and Hugh Freeze.
They love it.
Let me tell you who the grown-ups are in the league. Kirby Smart, Josh Heupel, Brian Kelly,
Well,
and Mike Elko. No nonsense, no BS. Don't care about celebrities on the sideline. Don't care about being cute on social media. Let's play football. Let's get better.
Where does DeBoer fall on that? Is he a grown up yet?
Oh, I think DeBoer is a grown-up, and
I still think.
I think that there's always a transition type period in year one.
Gotta be.
I mean, look, it's not like they got beat 42-20.
No.
Tennessee threw the touchdown pass late in the game.
Right.
A
good Tennessee team.
Heupel's legit, man.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Heupel is legit. The joke's on Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They got Brent Venables. Oklahoma alum national championship quarterback Josh Heupel's at Tennessee.
How in the world do you allow that to happen?
Oklahoma just fired their offensive coordinator in Seth Luttrell, and they just promoted Joe John Finley. Isn't that a great football name?
Love that.
I mean, Joe John sounds like he's the defensive coordinator at Colin.
I was thinking Upora High, but
that too.
Yeah.
I called a baseball tournament at Upora.
No way.
In grad school, it was a travel ball tournament. Thought I was going to get killed.
No doubt.
Man, moms were climbing the fence in the backstop.
I'm sure.
I couldn't understand some of them. They're English. But I was sitting there thinking, if I get out of here, I'm never coming back. Ever. Then ran into a tornado on the way back to Starkville and had to hang out under a bridge for 10 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great times in Newport.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, the other umpire said, "Do you think I need to walk you to your car?" I thought, dude, it'll be 20 of them. It won't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to, I mean, this was a big old country boy. I said, you're not going to be able to make it either. I'm faster than you, though.
Yeah. So come on. My dad always told me you don't have to be the biggest, strongest. You got to be, you don't have to be the fastest. Just trip a guy and go.
Yeah.
I mean, survival of the fittest, right?
Joe John Finley, head coach, Mississippi Delta. Live in the Bank Plus studio, Tom Luganbill will join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Tom Luganbill, national college football analyst with ESPN, ACC Network. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And your SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Southern Ag Credit, financing life outside the city limits. SouthernAgCredit.com, SouthernAgCredit.com, financing life outside the city limits, right there in Ridgeland, Mississippi. Tom Luganbill, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, Bo?
I'm doing well, bud. Kirby Smart's doing better. Let's talk about Kirby and Georgia going into Austin and taking the Longhorns' manhood. So this is, I don't know if this has been happening, and maybe I just didn't know it. But it sure seems to me that Georgia just flipped the switch. Like they beat the you-know-what out of Clemson, decided to sleepwalk for 6 or 7 weeks, Luke's, and then they just flipped the switch again and absolutely run Texas out of the stadium. Is that fair enough analysis?
Yeah, but they didn't do it in super clean, flawless fashion, right? I mean, you can still see where their warts are, and they're struggling to effectively run the football. Although they ran it better, they are way too risky with the football through the air. The reason why they won this game is they absolutely dominated Texas up front, particularly the defensive front for Georgia and the Texas offensive front, and Texas helped them out. Texas turned the ball over, penalties, really poor on third down, averaged 1.1 yards a carry. I mean, holy smoke. So this is there. Here's what I think has taken place at Georgia. Now they got to be able to maintain it, and that is, for the longest time, because of the level of success that they have sustained, they've never been able to play with the chip on their shoulder. They've never been able to be the underdog. They've never been able to be the snake backed into a corner. And I think that Kirby Smart has masterfully played that role with his team really, really well. And I think when you consider their collection of athletes, their roster profile top to bottom, and you add the hunger element back into it, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be a handful, right? But just as we're seeing really across the SEC as a whole, Alabama's been sloppy. Tennessee is sloppy. Georgia's been sloppy. All right. Texas on Saturday night was sloppy. At times undisciplined with all of those teams that I've just mentioned. And so it's kind of leveled the playing field to some degree. Ole Miss in the same fashion, already sitting there with 2 losses. Nobody would have envisioned that. So I think the league top to bottom is experiencing more competitive balance and parity, not because it doesn't have potentially dominant teams, but because of the teams that are quote unquote supposed to be the best teams aren't always playing good football.
Yeah. But they wrecked Clemson and Texas. And like you said, the Georgia defensive line.
Clemson for 1.5. That game was 6-0 at the halftime.
Yes. Yeah. But still, I mean, they manhandled them in the second half. What kind of walk me through what Georgia's D-line did to Texas offensive line?
I thought what they did a great job of is they handled the line of scrimmage with their front 4 and didn't have to pressure as often. Now, they pressured some, but I loved some of their line games. Their stunts inside to try and set up offensive linemen to commit to one area when you're going to get a looper coming back to fill that open gap and get a free rusher on the quarterback. That's an offensive line at Texas that's got at least 2 first-rounders and probably 3 draft choices on it. And so to see Georgia overwhelm them the way they did for the entirety of the game, that was the difference for me. And it generally is in all championship level type games. We've talked about this for 100 years on your show, Bo. It's, if you're going to win and be dominant up front, you have essentially upped the percentages of winning the football game significantly just in that one area. And I just thought that they were relentless in their effort, and they set the tone from the very get-go of how the game was going to be played.
Tom Lugan, Bill on the Out of Bounds show. All right, all the teams are flawed in one way, shape, or form, like you started off in the interview. But if your power rankings this morning, is Georgia number one or someone else in the SEC?
In the SEC, I think that they probably have to be right now. Listen, do I think if Texas and Georgia played, 10 times and Texas doesn't, lay an egg the way they did? I mean, listen, the bottom line, Texas turned the ball over 4 times. When's the last time we saw Texas turn the ball over 4 times? Maybe in the first season of Sark's tenure, maybe, when they weren't anywhere near as talented. And against 95% of the people that Texas would play, if they did that, they'd probably get away with it and win the game, right? But not against anybody that's really, really good. So I think you've got to credit Georgia there. Yeah, I think that's fair to probably say Georgia right now. But I would also lump Georgia, Texas. I don't think with as sloppy as Alabama has been, I would put them in the conversation right now. And I wouldn't even know if I'd put Tennessee in the conversation right now. They've been uber sloppy as well. But you got to look at LSU and Texas A&M as playing really clean football. And
they play this weekend.
Yep.
Okay. I just saw A&M. Connor Wigman did not impress me. I was in Starkville on Saturday. He could have thrown easily 3 more picks. And, I mean, he was throwing it right to Mississippi State guys.
And he had a great week the week before, and then it wasn't even the same guy.
I don't know, again, I don't know the ins and outs. I can't see what you're seeing in others. But I just know Mississippi State had every opportunity to pick him off. And he had guys running wide open. And he hit them some, but golly, he missed them some too. So that was
better, by the way. If you took Michael Van Buren and put him on Auburn's team right now, can you imagine how different they'd be?
You jumped on the week after Van Buren committed to Lebby and dropped the Oregon commitment, and you said this dude can play. Did you have him in the Under Armour All-American game, Luke?
Oh, yeah, we did. I said he was a right-handed Dylan Gabriel, if I remember my quote correctly.
Yeah. To play as a true freshman with the lack of talent that he has around him and play as well as he has it won't get the credit it deserves because there's too many big boys in the conference, but it's unfreaking believable, Luke.
Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you, I think Jeff Lebby is quietly developing a culture and a team and a foundation where there's building blocks right now. Nobody's paying attention, but all of a sudden you start looking at those games and looking at those outcomes, and Mississippi State's scoring points, right? And they're finding ways to stay in games, and they're competing, and the quarterback's getting more and more confident. They're not where they're going to want to be. But if you go back to earlier in the season and when Blake Shapen went down and they were not playing very good football, this looked like it was going to be an absolute disaster. And now it doesn't look that way. It looks like a team that's gaining some confidence.
Okay, well, let's go there. I'll go to Oklahoma and Ole Miss in a minute, and the firing of Seth Luttrell and the promotion of Joe John Finley. Let's go to Starkville. Both teams play this weekend, Starkville and Oxford. Ole Miss at 11 a.m., Mississippi State at 11:45 a.m. So Arkansas at MSU. This is going to be one of the few opportunities of a winnable ball game for them, Tom Lugan, Bill. What do Lebby and Van Buren and them need to do to come out with one more point this weekend?
Well, I don't think they're anywhere near being a good enough football team to make mistakes and overcome them. I think that's the thing, and we're seeing that more and more and more throughout college football with how the transfer portal has thinned out rosters, affected people's depth. The teams that are playing the most error-free football are the teams that seem to be rising to the top each and every week. Now, if you're just flat out better than somebody, that's one thing. You can afford to make an error here or there, but that's not where Mississippi State is. So, listen, you got to have a healthy run game. The freshman quarterback can't make errors, and then you can't make errors worse, right? You can't take a bad decision and turn it into a catastrophic one. And I think to your point, if there are plays to be made in the back end and the other quarterback's going to throw it to you, you got to make those plays, right? You can't. You're not in a position as a team to overcome something or win against somebody that maybe you shouldn't if you don't take some of those gifts. You gotta be able to do that.
I agree with you there. But it's a winnable game for Mississippi State. and we'll see what shakes out there. Tom Luganbill with ESPN on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. All right, Oklahoma's a train wreck on offense, and South Carolina had 41 yards on Saturday, and it was 21-0. So Oklahoma Venables decides to fire Seth Luttrell. He promotes Joe John Finley. They really can't figure out what they want to do at quarterback. They went back and forth. Ole Miss is a 20.5-point favorite. I think most everybody does. Do you expect Ole Miss to run Oklahoma out of the stadium?
I do, because I think Oklahoma mentally and emotionally is on their last leg. And this is going to be a real test of this locker room in Norman, Oklahoma, because let's not forget, and I'm not making excuses for them, but they've essentially played the entire first half of the season without their top 5 wide receiving targets in the lineup. Not 1, not 2, 5. So they have not given either one of the 2 inexperienced quarterbacks any help from a personnel injury standpoint, which, obviously you hate for that to happen as a coach, but you can't control it. They haven't been able to effectively run the football, so they haven't been able to take pressure off of the passing game. And then the offensive line has really been in shambles. This is a really talented, good Oklahoma defense that is getting caught up in a snare because they're on the field all of the time. So they're worn out, they're worn down, they're getting worn thin, and you're on the back half of the schedule. And a team like Ole Miss that can get going fast and wear you down and get up on you, 10, 14, 17 points, Oklahoma's not equipped to play from behind. They can't do that. So I think it is imperative that Ole Miss get off to a fast start. And that means winning on first down and getting continual first down so that the pace of play, we've talked about this so much. I had SMU on Saturday night. They're the exact same way when it comes to tempo. They're like, we want to go as fast as we can, but if we don't win on first down or we don't get first downs, we're out of our element. And I feel the same way about Ole Miss. So they've got to get back to controlling that tempo on early downs.
Joe John Finley's been promoted. He was the passing game coordinator under Lane Kiffin in 2020 before moving to Oklahoma with Venables. And that it's kind of talk about that. You're seeing coaches get fired, coordinators, whatever.
Yeah.
He's in the building. I mean, he's been with the players, but it got to be a tough transition, right? Going from just getting blown out by South Carolina, and now you got to go to Ole Miss, where Lane's got like a 90% winning percentage at home.
Well, that and, there's no waiver wire, right?
Right.
There's no trade deadline. You're playing with the guys that you got. And right now they have so many concerns with just lining up and blocking the right guy, right? That's where it begins. And then all of the other stuff that follows all of that stuff. So whether it's Joe John Finley or Seth Luttrell or Jeff Lebby or Lane Kiffin, what have you, like you are subject to what you are playing with on the field on that afternoon. And coaches can only do so much. You can prepare them. You can put together the plan. And you can do all of the right things and push all the right buttons during the week. But does that mean that you're good enough to go out and do everything the way it was drawn up? Absolutely not. And I think that's the challenge here for Joe John Finley. Okay, it might be a different point of leadership, maybe a different perspective. We'll see if the approach is any different, but you haven't changed the chess pieces on the board.
Right. Who's the best quarterback in the league right now?
Who is the best quarterback in the league right now? That is a good question.
Pavia?
Maybe. I mean, let's just say this. He seems to be the most consistent, what you see is what you get, performer, run to pass of any quarterbacks in the league right now. I think that would be fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting when you say something like that. Well, I say that, it might be Garrett Nussmeier.
Ooh, he's playing good football.
I think he's really, really, really good. And they're starting to play well down the stretch. They're improving just enough on defense. We'll see this weekend. Obviously, that's going to be a telltale sign for them. But I would probably go Garrett Nussmeier and then Pavia 1-1A.
Okay. Man, those are two good football players. Good grief.
Well, what's interesting is you asked that question. And if you asked that question in August, right, I don't know if either one of those two players would have been top of mind for anybody. Right? It would have been Carson Beck. It would have been Quinn Ewers. It would have been Jalen Milroe. Might have been Graham Mertz at Florida. You know, if you're looking at it from that perspective
Dart.
early on. Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. And it just goes to show you as the season starts to play out and, you know, because for the most part, top to bottom in the league, we went from looking at this league and saying there could potentially be 5 college football playoff teams, which essentially you'd be saying there's 3 dominant ones, to now looking at Alabama with 2 losses, Ole Miss with 2 losses. The winner or loser of LSU Texas A&M is going to have 2, right? Auburn's a mess. Kentucky's up and down. South Carolina is just good enough to beat somebody. Florida's actually improving. But Texas, Georgia, Alabama were supposed to be the clear cut above everybody else. And I'm not so convinced that they are. And the reason why isn't because of their player profile, is they haven't played clean. And you could throw Tennessee into that mix too. All of those teams that are supposed to be the best teams have by and large played sloppy games, undisciplined, heavily penalized, turnover-laden matchups that are uncharacteristic to what we normally see.
You mentioned LSU and A&M. They face each other this weekend in College Station. It'll be wild. Neither one has lost since Labor Day. So it's A&M's laying 2.5. They're both coming off road wins, Arkansas and Mississippi State, as you know. You like LSU? You like A&M?
I kind of, if LSU can stop the run, I like LSU because I think they're more potent and explosive offensively. But if LSU can't stop the run and it keeps LSU's offense on the sideline because Le'Veon Moss is hitting home runs, then now the score stays lower, which helps Texas A&M in the fourth quarter. So keep an eye out for LSU's ability or inability to stop the run, because if they can't stop the run, then I think Texas A&M puts themselves in a really good spot here.
All right, Tom Luganbill on the Out of Bounds Show and the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. The show is brought to you by Southern Ag Credit, financing life outside the city limits. Let's go with Auburn at Kentucky. Hold on. Hugh Freeze is finding ways to lose. It is unbelievable. Up 17-3. And he looks like a madman. Like it is driving this guy crazy. He's not sleeping. Kentucky's not any good, but Auburn has to go to Kentucky. I mean, what gives here between the two?
Well, here's the deal: is it's been a long time since I watched that game with Auburn in Missouri in its entirety. The one thing that finally clicked with me is that Auburn has a complete and utter inability to handle prosperity and then take momentum when they get it and capitalize on it. They do not respond well to something good happening to them. I know that sounds odd, but every time something good happens to them and they look like they're about to light the fuse, they screw it up. They cannot handle positive momentum. And it's head scratching to me. And I know that they're handcuffed right now. I know they have below marginal quarterback play, but the defense was playing lights out. All right. The running back's a good player. They did enough to win the football game. The kicking game is still killing them. The field goal would have probably won the game for them. But to see what Brady Cook did, and I don't want to diminish Missouri and that quarterback and what he did late in that game. That guy could have stayed in the hospital and watched on TV. He could have come back to the complex and put crutches under his shoulders and watched from the sideline. Instead, he comes back and plays. And as a result, won him the football game.
Yeah. You're right. That was a hell of an effort.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Okay. So do you like Auburn in a close one?
This game, I don't like either one of them.
I don't either. I mean,
I don't either.
Stoops doesn't believe in playing offense, so what
And
the hell?
Is that Kentucky?
Nobody will be there. They're checked out now. It's basketball season, right? I mean,
well, the thing is I want to sit there and say, okay, at some point or another, Auburn's going to, get something going their way, and they're going to capitalize on it. And I keep saying to myself that after I just told you what I told you, they don't have the ability to do that. So I don't trust them. So I'm going to say Kentucky at home.
Real quick, Kurt Signetti. Have you watched the quick clip of him talking about how Google me, I win?
Google me.
Oh gosh, so good.
It is good, but it's a little obnoxious too.
Yeah, well, I love it as what I do. But so, have you known him along the way? Have you ever met him? I mean, the guy. It's an unbelievable story about what he's done as a head coach after working for Saban.
Midweek MAC game with him. Know of him a little bit because he was Greg McElroy's coach at Alabama, and Greg and I worked for 4 years together. Listen, he's done a remarkable job, and where he deserves the most credit is when they went fishing in the transfer portal. He wasn't worried about the prettiest guy. He wasn't worried about the tallest guy. He wasn't worried about the strongest arm. He targeted the most productive player in the portal. And when you look at what Curtis Rourke accomplished at Ohio, and I had 3 of his games, Curtis Rourke's games, it's easy to see why that's the guy they went after, because now you plug and play a guy with a remarkable value of high-level play. And I think that their research and what they did was just really, really strong and a great feel for how you look at the portal and the things that you target and that are important to you.
I read the article on ESPN.com a couple of days ago. You probably hit it too, where they kind of featured what Signetti did. And it's nothing short of remarkable that they're hosting game day and 7-0 at a basketball school that never wins and so on. It's just at 63 years old, this doesn't happen, Luke. I mean,
no, and he's pretty good now. I mean, when I say that team's actually pretty good. They got the perfect schedule. The schedule plays out really, really well for them.
Okay.
And with Michigan kind of tanking, right? So they got to play Michigan and Ohio State back to back. So we'll see. But to this point, he's put them in position.
Where are you this week?
I get to drive. I've got SMU at Duke on Saturday night.
Dude, those teams are 12-2 combined. I mean, Lashley and Manny Diaz have done a great job there.
Yeah. And SMU doesn't play Clemson or Miami during the regular season. Like, they're in the mix here and nobody's talking about them.
Wow. Good for you going to Durham. All right, bud. Have a great week. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, man. You too. Bye-bye.
The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Southern Ag Credit. Call them today. Financing life outside the city limits, right there in Ridgeland. Southern Ag Credit.com. We're live in the Bank Plus studio.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
You ready?
Let's go!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now live in the Bank Plus studio, where college football meets the all lifestyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is
The Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds, streaming around the world live at the Out of Bounds radio app and on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
Where are you?
The Zone.
Oh, man. Football season was so much fun. Jackson was proud of me. I tailgated this weekend. I got to see some wonderful people, and they got to see me.
That's what mattered. That's
Yeah.
why I was proud.
Yeah. And so I thought it was a win-win. Had a great time. You're listening to the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. It was beautiful. The Junction was great. OOB's catered the tailgate. OOB's is so good. Good grief. That's a crew right there. And I got to watch, I don't know, it may not have been half the game, but a quarter plus of the game with Dan Mullen. That was fun. I've never watched a game with Dan Mullen.
Right.
You know what? He looked at me. He said, I've never been in a suite. You forget or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Seats in between the 40. I mean, club level, it doesn't matter. He looked. He said, I've never done this. I was like, that's so hard for me to wrap my brain around. I mean, we're just up there having fun, grazing on a little food. I'm sipping on a Michelob Ultra, and he's being a fan. Like when State scored, when Van Buren made that play, he went nuts. He was high-fiving me, my good friend. My kids were in there. He was going crazy.
Dan?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I got to see video evidence of this.
I wasn't on video.
No, of course
that wouldn't
not.
have been cool.
No, of course not. But like the trying to fathom that as a
He went nuts. He went nuts. He got there and State scored 30 seconds later. He was like a kid.
That's awesome.
He's like a kid.
Yeah, that's big time. That's dope.
And he just kept going, man, that kid can play. He was talking about Van Buren. But he was going around everybody high-fiving them. He doesn't get to do that.
No, ever.
I mean, first of all, he
Never
coached forever.
Right.
Then he's been at ESPN. They're not high-fiving. They're hosting.
No.
And he's like, dude, I've never done this.
He went right to the booth afterwards, right? Like it was coaching, then booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he never had a gap. Dang. So he hasn't. It's been years.
He had never been in that situation where he could just be a fan.
Wow.
And he was having the best time. And he should.
Oh, no. Does that mean he's not going to go back to coaching?
I'm telling you, I think, we interviewed him last week. I believe that he's going back. We are the Out of Bounds Show. If you need cataract surgery, you want to call Eye Care Professionals. Dr. Kirk Jeffries. If you need cataract surgery, well, if you need an eye exam or, I got contacts and glasses and all that, but if you need cataract surgery, call Eye Care Professionals today. 2 locations on Lakeland Drive. Eye Care Professionals.
Was the northern twang there, or is it gone? Does he have, is it?
It's still there.
He just sounded a lot different.
But it's not as
heavy.
It's not as heavy as when he was hired at 36 years old in 2009 at Mississippi State.
The little squeak.
Nah, he's not that. He was relaxed.
Yeah.
Even, look, Wendy doesn't care anything about it. Sure. And she had already been around Dan and Megan when they were here, right?
Right.
And her and Megan knew each other, and Megan recognized her right when they walked in. They hugged, blah, blah, blah. And, Wendy's just there to hang out.
Yeah.
And she was like, he looks she was like, he looks different. He's lighter. He's actually sleeping.
Right.
He was tanned. He's playing golf. He was having a blast. He should. He did it.
Yeah.
What he did for Starkville and Mississippi State University, you'll never be able to put a number on it. But it's hundreds of millions, if not over $1 billion, because it's still the residual kick is still going.
Yes.
And I know you say the same thing about Mullen and Dak, and then Eli and I guess Freeze, but Dan, yeah, he was just having. You know what? He was just a fan.
Yeah, that's it.
Enjoying the day with his family.
Like fan Dan.
And he still loves Mississippi State. And we'll see if he's going to go to North Carolina or. Look, man, we're going to have some more job openings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he was probably there to, scouting out which street they wanted to name after him.
That should be a done deal. He should just be able to roll up on a street and go, I want this to be Dan Mullen Parkway or Dan Mullen Street.
Oh, what would he take?
Well, he needs to it needs to be a big.
Yeah.
It needs to be one of the streets that goes into the stadium.
Right. Not Main Street, because Main Street's Main Street, but like with the auxiliaries. Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, somewhere probably over by right off the Cotton District.
Right. Yeah,
is kind of what I'm thinking.
I'm with that. Dan Mullen Drive.
Yeah, Dan Mullen Drive. That's what it'll be.
Like that. It's gonna be good.
But it was cool. We were just BSing, having a drink. I mean, I've done that with him before, but it's different when he was a coach. I mean, it was hard for him to relax at his charity party in whenever Megan with June or whatever. He's just, dude, winning is hard. And it's not just in Starkville and Oxford. It's hard anywhere. Extremely difficult. I could also tell he was referencing the players. I mean, like he couldn't go through all of them.
Right.
But he was like, man, it was so good to see so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And then so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so.
How many they end up packing?
You forget, man, people are busy. They're living all over the country. He doesn't just get to see these guys.
Right. Yeah, these are like dang near like sons to him almost.
Yeah.
Especially,
well, you could tell the way he was moving around in the end zone, how much it meant to him.
Oh, I'm sure.
He was, man, when you're 30s and 40s, he's grinding too much, trying to win games, and the fight and the battle every day.
Right.
And you're in it. And he was able to reflect up there as he was talking to us. He was like, man, I just, I think he realized how many damn good football players he had.
Yeah.
Best evaluator in the history of the state of Mississippi, regardless of school. And that's including when Southern Miss was rolling, because they did an amazing job in the 70s, 80s, and 90s under multiple coaches, whether it was Bobby Collins or Carmody or Jeff Bauer and so on. But he's the best evaluator, because when you look at the NFL guys,
it's ridiculous.
The guys that he drove to the league, it's ridiculous.
It's how in the world he did it.
You see Benardrick McKinney down there. You see Gabe Jackson. You see Jonathan Banks. You see Dak.
Yeah.
And many, many, many more. It's unreal. So it was cool.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it was cool for me. I'll be honest. It was cool for me to hang out with him.
I'm sure
I've never hung out with him like that.
Had to have felt good knowing that he was in a place that actually did truly adore the guy.
Well, yeah, everybody there was for him.
Yeah, this is in Florida. Like for some reason,
But think about that. He's 52 years old and has never watched a football game like that.
It's wild.
A college game.
Sure.
He has watched an NFL game, but that is totally different.
That's a completely different deal.
That is a school that he gave 9 years to and thousands of hours of work to build it to what he did. So it was cool. And seeing Will Clark there was cool too.
Full circle moment for him, yeah.
I like the way Will did the little swing while they were introducing him. I thought that was super cool. If you need cataract surgery, call Eye Care Professionals. Dr. Kirk Jeffries on Lakeland Drive. 2 locations. Eye Care Professionals. 2 locations on Lakeland Drive. We are the Out of Bounds Show. Your next French drain for your house is brought to you by Superior Foundation. Yeah, let's throw out the text line. I'd love to know your top five in the SEC power rankings. The agup.com text line is 601-885-3776. 885-3776. Your top five SEC power rankings. So you got Georgia, I mean, some of you won't have Georgia there. That's fine. Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, Texas, Bama, somewhere in there. I mean, and then Ole Miss. But A&M.
Yeah. Number one in the league, A&M.
A&M and LSU are both undefeated. One of them in league play. One of them will not be after this weekend, which means one will have one loss still and one will have two losses. You can still get there, but we're going to see how many teams in the league are going to finish with two losses. Because all of a sudden LSU and A&M, who we counted out, because we do that as crazy Pills fans.
Driver's seat.
Dude. And A&M, I don't want to go every weekend standalone. They could come back and play great this weekend. They didn't necessarily impress. They look great coming off the bus, and they definitely look different than Mississippi State. I guess I thought, and I was obviously wrong, that they would blow out MSU, and they did not. And kudos to Levy and Van Buren and the players. But LSU, man. Garrett Nussmeier? Damn nations. What you got?
I didn't realize they hosted Alabama in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they do.
Alabama's ranked 15th for some reason this week, which is not real sure about that ranking. But, man, just looking ahead.
Bama lost at Tennessee. It's not like they lost at South Carolina.
If Tennessee's a top 5 team, why are we dropping them like that?
So, while I understand they're struggling,
and the Vandy thing,
they didn't go to Rutgers and lose.
No.
They didn't go to Wake and lose.
And
they lost
won.
I understand they went to Vandy and lost. Vandy's a little bit different deal this year.
Right.
But you went to Tennessee and lost.
Yeah.
That loss, I'm not falling apart over. No. Now, Jesse Palmer said it. If Milroe struggles early, things get weird. He gets his eyes down on the floor, on the ground, on the turf, instead of keeping them down the field. It's not who I thought Brad Edwards nailed it. It's not last week. Roll Tide insider Brad Edwards said for Kalen DeBoer, he's not going to come out and say it. That's not who he wants at quarterback.
Oh, no.
And if you look at what he's done at quarterback with Michael Penix at Indiana and Michael Penix at Washington and others, it's a different deal. So look for a more refined passer, but also with some legs. They're Alabama. They'll get players. Now, I don't know if Milroe's going to continue to kind of go back, be up and down, and DeBoer's going to give Ty Simpson a shot or not. I don't know. Ty's dad, Jason Simpson, Mississippi State alum, who was the head coach at UT Martin. He may still be, but I don't think he is anymore. But he was there forever and ever.
You think he would move off of Milroe?
I'm not saying that. I just.
Oh no, not his first year.
I don't know.
Oh, man,
Who is the best quarterback in the league? Is it Diego Pavia or Garrett Nussmeier? Diego Pavia can ball.
He's proven it week in, week out.
Absolute baller.
I don't know what to.
Vanderbilt tried to lose the last couple of weeks. He just wouldn't let them.
That's right.
Seriously. At Kentucky, he bailed them out. Against Ball State, he bailed them out. He's just a dude, man.
He likes to win. That's just it.
If you dropped Diego Pavia at Auburn, if you dropped him at Bama, oh, my God. What if Bama had Diego Pavia? Good hell. My goodness. What if A&M had Diego Pavia? Woo!
Is it him? Is it him?
Goodness gracious.
Is he the one? Is he the best quarterback in the SEC? I can't.
He may be.
I can't go there.
Why? Because he don't do that just because he's at Vanderbilt.
I know, it's
That's not fair.
The V on the helmet kills me. But it's not there. It's not fair. And he is. He's definitely.
He's up there.
He's got to be up there.
It's Garrett Nussmeier or Diego Pavia.
So has he played himself into? He's played himself into multiple millions of dollars, right?
Well, I don't. This may be eligibility wise.
Well, I'm talking about getting drafted. He's going to get drafted now. That somebody will take a flyer.
Probably,
for sure.
5'11", maybe, but he's thick and built and can throw it a little bit and super elusive. Played a ton of ball. He'll have 40-something games under his belt of starting,
which he elevated talent.
Oh, New Mexico State. He's one above talent. Yes, at New Mexico State and Vandy. Hey, let's drop the the Kirby Smart letting Texas know who their daddy is. This is Kirby Smart after Steve Sarkisian and them were worried about celebrities and bells and whistles last weekend.
Been in these battles, how do you know how to get the best out of your players when you need it most?
You know, these players get the best out of me, and I'm so proud of these guys because nobody believed, nobody gave us a chance. Your whole network doubted us. Nobody believed us, and then they tried to rob us with calls in this place, and these guys are so resilient. You know what I mean? We talked about intent. What was our intent when we walked on the field? Our intent was not to take pictures, not to do all the superstar stuff. Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry. I'm not interested in all the bells and whistles. What I want is a team that fights their ass off, and they did tonight.
Speaking of the call that was changed in the third quarter, what did you think of the composure you saw from Carson Beck in your offense?
I thought Carson had great composure all day. He had 4 drops to start the game. It didn't rattle the kid. He threw interceptions. It didn't rattle the kid. The guy's a great player. He takes undue criticism, and all he does is lead our team. This was a team victory, offense, defense, special teams, in a tough place to play.
So much was made about their explosive offense coming into the game. How much pride do you have in the way your defense performed tonight?
Our defense was embarrassed the week before, but we really played really well. So when you play really well and you still get embarrassed, we were able to get their attention, and I thought they woke up and played really hard today.
Congratulations on the win.
It is a difficult place to play. That's a hell of a win to go into Austin, Texas. Sark has loaded the boat the last few years with talent, and Georgia's defensive line just dominated.
Yeah.
Texas offensive line.
Probably didn't hurt that McConaughey was the one calling the shots over there in the ear.
Well, evidently he's trying to call the plays.
Well, what is going on?
I don't know, but get him away from the quarterback.
Seriously. Get him away from the sideline. I like McConaughey.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
Yeah. He's a good actor, but
dude,
let's settle down a little bit.
Buddy.
I love that Kirby said, we're not about taking pictures.
Yeah, thankfully he said that.
And we're not about all the bells and whistles. We're just about winning.
And McConaughey's going to be on the sideline again.
Oh.
He runs Austin, so that's his call.
Yeah.
He runs that place.
And Sark out there with all the all the stuff before the game.
He loved it.
Yeah. Don't think that Kirby wasn't watching.
Yeah. He picked up on all that.
And he told his team, nobody on game day, nobody on ESPN picked you to win.
He was correct.
Okay. Nobody expects you to win. They're disrespecting you. Here we are, Georgia. And because we lost one game at Bama,
right,
everybody's like, you're not any good anymore. They came to eat.
Yeah. I mean, off every floor.
Oh, those edge rushers came to eat. Good grief.
They really are. They're going to play their best ball down the stretch. They're going to win. They're going to win it.
Well,
they haven't even sniffed their best football. They played like 70%.
Man, everything was going against them. Like you said, Carson Beck, the receivers were dropping balls. Carson Beck was throwing picks.
Yeah.
It's a long game. You're going to face adversity. High school football teams this Friday are going to face adversity. Those that stay in the saddle as everything unfolds in the third and fourth quarter. Stay in the saddle. Easy to say. Carson Beck did. Made a couple of big throws.
He did.
Everything was going against him. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just about, hey, man, when they got on that plane going back to Athens.
W.
Yeah. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Justin Waite at Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson. He'll buy your car, and he will come to your office or home and give you a price. Justin Waite, Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson.